back, like between I had like meetings, like conference calls. I'm the board president for Hill the Hood Milwaukee, so we had to do that. I managed 5 artists, so we had our team meeting. Right, I have to help host an open mic that I used to host. I'm doing it virtually for the 20th anniversary. I had to go record for a friend's project today. Like it was just like a whole bunch of just like.
Oh yeah, he was having a good day though. That's a good one.
I had like 30 minutes of like a nap, like of sleep. Right. So I'm on the struggle bus right now, but I like doing it. That's why I was like, Ramone, I can give you like 45 minutes if you want me to come on, but.
Yeah, so man, I gotta call my little man right after this. So
yeah. I can't even imagine being a parent. Like, shout out to all of y'all, because I'm probably like, do you know how to take care of yourself? Are you good? Can you take this one day?
My son's mom be texting me like his ass stank. He won't get in the shower. I'm just like, oh. I tried to warn her about that teenage boy smell. He getting there.
Feels like it's never ending.
Well, you better buy this little nigga some grown man deodorant ASAP. Like,
or just just throw the hose on him. Like, hey, just you in the kitchen?
Get him. Just douse him fabuloso.
Shut up! You didn't tell me Brit was gonna be.
No one needs to know that I'm gonna be part of this. I'm nobody. Come on now. I'm excited to see you guys.
We got a real life celebrity in here. I am very excited.
Who's the celebrity? Because it ain't me. My Lord. I'm just a nobody. I am no celebrity.
That sounds good. And we got Justin Classic Holly up in the building. The man with the best beard on the planet. How you doing, man?
No, man, I had to cut it down. You winning now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I'm just saying between Billy and Justin, I mean, y'all beard is on point, but I'm fighting for my life
between two beards. My life is complete on this Wednesday.
Yeah,
I just had to chop him down. No, I messed my whole neck up testing out new clippers.
Wow.
God bless you for testing that out and being a man and doing it. I still haven't been able to touch it, so.
Do y'all use certain oils for y'all beard?
I'm trying out a bunch of different ones. I use this stuff by S Curl. I use this other called this like drop stuff that keep it healthy. Then I use I started using some stuff from Harry's just like yesterday, and that smelled good, pretty nice.
I use Jamaican castor oil. That's all. That or coconut oil, and that's it.
Yeah,
coconut oil is dope too.
Yeah.
I have to get out the shower and let it dry.
There you go, Ramone. Like that's it. Just do whatever works for you.
Just savage, aboriginal ass beard.
Not aboriginal.
Shit came with a rain stick and a kangaroo.
Man, hey, so guess what I did? All right, so I won't have events until June, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try out that Cut Buddy. When I was in town, yeah, line me up. Yeah, I was like, because I always cut my own hair, but I'm gonna see how the Cut Buddy works. Because trust me, if you see this here, man, it's like it's very chia pet, but I didn't put enough water and seeds on top. You know what I'm saying? So
like a sick sack.
You remember those commercials? They used to just freak me out.
Yeah, hey, speaking of freak me out, I remember okay, so it's bad enough I lived on 39th and Center, that's paranoid enough. You know, used to have me scary. Remember that video, that da-da-dee-da-dee-da. Whatever song that was in the 90s.
Chapman.
That video used to freak me out, and it. That's why I'm scary. I don't do scary anything. I'm trash.
There's nothing wrong with not liking horror shit. That's just everybody. No.
I treat scary movies the same way like overly spicy food, right? Because when you're not really getting the flavor and tasting the food, right? Like super hot, anything. So when it comes to scary movies, when you watch a good scary movie, it's going to require people have to collectively be stupid. Like it's like everything coronavirus. The only reason this is a scary movie is people are stupid and make dumb decisions. If that wasn't the case, it wouldn't be a scary movie. You know what I'm saying? That's why something like Get Out probably somewhat people probably Get Out just enough to say, okay, I can see how this might be plausible. Not like near the end with everything going on, but how those things can be plausible just on the level surface of shit happening. But like when you watch other things and it'd be like the dumb, it's like, yo, what? That's why I enjoy movies that kind of break the fourth wall to actually like relate to the people. It's kind of like how Jim is on The Office. When dumb things happen, Jim just look at the camera like,
yes.
Like I love that. Like you talking to the audience. Like I think that's just genius shit. But anyway, man, how you doing, Billy, man? I know Justin, you know, you got to show off the headband and got the Nike, and then I see Billy, you stay swole out in the streets, and me, I'm living. So, you know, how's the workout been for you?
It's been good, man. I'm fortunate that I work for Nike, and one of our big things that we're doing now is play inside. So I took that to heart, right? Like I built my gym downstairs in my basement, just trying to figure out different ways to stay active. I've had to challenge myself as far as like pushing what is working out and what is being in shape to me. So I started running. Like I have not ran since high school, right? And so I started running this month, and I'm proud to say I've ran 40 miles so far, which is something I'm excited about. Yeah, so I started incorporating running and doing some gym workouts in my basement. So just trying to figure out ways to stay active. As far as your swole comment, I got a long way to go. It's so funny when people say that because I still see myself as extremely skinny. So I'm always trying to work to become better.
Yeah, I think that people tend to forget, like, the mental aspect of it is insane.
That's what
like 2015, when I lost all that weight, I didn't really think of myself like still the same old big dude. But it was just like I was still that small and still weighed over 300 pounds, right? So for me, you just didn't realize how small you got until you get big again. It's like, oh shit, I was really that small, you know.
Yeah.
But the unfortunate part is it's such a myth. Like you said, you still view yourself as just a skinny kid that you always, you know. And I think that kind of creates insecurity. Same thing with anyone. Anything you do better, and if it's no different than if you grew up in a rough childhood and a rough lifestyle, and you finally make it have all this money, you're paranoid just based off of everything you've been through. You feel like nothing changed outside of you just got more money, right? This just looks better. This feels better, and I felt the same way. And so I was still, even, you know, you work out for the mental, I was still just going to work, hating my job. Like I was scared of I was strong enough, but I was even more scared of my own anger just because you don't know when you're going to flip out and everybody look at you all skinny and swole and they wonder like, yo, he might really fuck something up. And I really had to fight through that. And so interesting enough, so I ended up getting in a relationship and then, you know, relationship stuff. So, you know,
You're so right, Ramone. And when you talk about mental, like for me, at the beginning of the story, right? Like I share that I haven't ran since high school. So you got to think, you know, in your 30s, I haven't ran for 15 years. And my first run, it was such a mental struggle for me, like trying to run a mile, because the last time I ran, running a mile was nothing. That was easy. But now, like running a mile is a real struggle. And, you know, you put on muscle, like I put on muscle mass and I have good size, for that, and that's a different mental thing that I'm going through. But my first time really running, I had to get over mental obstacles where I was legit scared. Like I was legit scared. I was fearful. I thought I thought I had heart problems. I went to the doctor and got an EKG hooked up to me last year because I had heart issues. I had thought, but I was so fearful to get back into shape. And it still hurts me sometimes when I'm running. Like I'm like, man, do I really want to do this? Should I be out here? This is hard. This is tough. But it's just something that you have to stick with doing. And then on the muscle part, dude, you're 100% right. For me, the gym, and this is crazy when we talk about working out, like the gym has helped me become mentally stronger. Like nobody likes going to the gym. Like if we're gonna commit to it, ain't nobody really like going. If you really go to the gym and do what you're supposed to do, it's not fun. Like you're beating your body up. That's not fun. But what that has helped me do is like take on that challenge every single day has helped translate to what I do at work, right? It's what helped translate to what I do as a father. That's helped translate to what I do as a leader in my job, right? And being able to take on that challenge mentally has helped me overcome goals for me personally. So the gym has definitely been much more than just a physical reward. It's helped my mental, which at the end of the day, you can look as good as you want to look physically. With that all, that could change in a minute. But if you're mentally strong, that's what lasts. And that's what I've been blessed with mentally. So that's why I love the gym so much.
Well, and I worked at a gym a little bit, and it's interesting. People coming in and out, be able to chop it up, learn some things, talk to a few trainers. Is I feel like there's a failure on how gyms, like the perception of what gyms should be to people, because okay, now that working out is a thing and everything, it's an industry. Like it's no different than it was 3 floors. So you go on the 3rd floor and you're doing cardio, you're doing a Stairmaster, you're doing elliptical, you're doing a treadmill. You still have on, like, besides the time and these ads, you still see these ads pushing for, if you want more beauty, get this type of surgery, and you insecurity sells.
Yeah.
Right. So basically, you're in the gym running like, I'm gonna lose all this weight, and this thing saying, man, just get this liposuction. Call this number. Like, so you're sitting there like, and also too, what I think what has happened to so many other people is you have the extreme gym people who they're doing things like, okay, let me do pull-ups. But at the same time while I'm doing pull-ups, I'm going to have somebody punch me in my ribs to show how strong I am by doing pull-ups. And what I think sometimes that does to people that might see that on social media is like, wow, that's amazing, but I can't do that. Why should I go to the gym? Like instead of looking at, hey, I was fortunate to be a part of this program here in Houston, and it's helping small businesses, black small businesses. And one of the individuals that I got to know a little bit, she's opening something around. She has a kinesiology degree. Is that how you say it? And everything that they was teaching was based off of training your body when it comes to doing your everyday things. Think about it. Most people that work a job and work in a cubicle, a lot of our lives are required for sitting down, getting up, and things like that. And you can feel the aches and pains of your body, or just doing the little things. And I always based off how I work out or how I eat is like, if I'm able to have an event and I'm doing a 5-hour wedding and I get there 2 hours before I'm setting up and I do the wedding and I go out there, dance, have a good time, spend all the energy doing this, and then I have breakdown for an hour or two and I'm able to put all this shit in my truck and then go home still have energy. It's like, wow, that was great. It's no, you know what I mean? Like that to me is very important to people, to the majority of people. Now you gotta have you gotta have people work out and do things, and it's a lifestyle. It's an addiction to a lot of people to work out and be very physically fit and figure out goals from there. But I think if you can sell the idea that you can do this too, and if your job requires you walking around all day or lifting boxes, working warehouses, we have the things for you to get through that, right? So it don't put this unnecessary pressure and fuck with people mentally like they can't do it. Because literally everything is a mental. It's a game. It's an uphill battle. And I noticed that talking to a lot of people where it's like that's why people give up after the first week.
Yeah.
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 What you about to say? My bad.
Completely aligned with you, brother. Like, well said.
So I have as many people here as possible. We have Brit. She's going to be here for about 45 minutes, about a half an hour now.
Right. Like at this point.
So I think this is going to be great because this one will be expressed through and about mental health. I think that is the.
Oh no. He's frozen.
Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy.
Was that me?
That was you.
Did I freeze?
Yeah,
you did.
You did.
You did.
Doing a robot.
Anyway, it's all right, fam. It's all right.
No, we won't hold it against you.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all. So, what the most interesting about mental health is we all feel like we all want to approach it like any other challenges in our life, right? Like we're talking about physically working out. Like you can go in the gym every day and work out. You have, your pecs look better, your biceps look better, and you're like, wow, I physically look and feel better. But then sometimes you feel like you could do the same thing when it comes to your anxiety or some of the mental and emotional issues you go through, and then a week later, all that shit comes back.
Yeah.
Right. And so this is more of just a lighter discussion and trying to figure out the roles and the things that we try to do to move forward. This is more of an informational aspect of, just able to exchange and talk about these things and really just open up on a level to help others and extend a hand. So I'm going to start out with names. And so far we have the top left. So I'm going to go from Justin to Brit to Billy to me to Ant to Nat. All right. And like I said last time, Billy, I told everyone else that, I want to get everyone an opportunity to say as much as they can. It's not like you have to raise your hand or anything. I just want everybody to get an opportunity to say as much as they can and be as informational as possible and just really get a chance to feel comfortable in here. So I'll start out with Justin.
Excellent.
All right. What you want to know specifically?
Just introduce yourself.
Okay. My name's Justin. Is that good?
Oh yeah. Like your name or what you do, and just just so far name what you do and things like that.
All right. My name is Justin. I'm gonna go by class M. I'm a rapper. I'm a barber. A father. Just all around cool light skinned nigga.
All right, that's a good start. All right, Brit.
Hello. I'm Brit Nicole. I'm a creative spoken word artist. Avid in the community, change agent, whatever. Hi.
All right, Billy.
Hey guys, I'm Billy McCullum. Loaded question. What are you? I don't even know how to answer that. I guess first and foremost, I'm a father, a husband. For work, I'm a director for Nike on the retail side. I direct our stores in the Midwest, and a gym advocate. I like going to the gym, so I think those are the probably 4 most important things about me.
Oh. There he is.
I have no idea what happened, but yeah, my bad. So weird. All right.
You in Texas? That's what happened.
Yes.
Rude.
All right. So Ant.
I am Anthony Buchanan, otherwise known as Cardiac the Post. I am an artist. I am a father. I am a grown-ass man. I am an EKG tech for Frederick Hospital. Yeah, a lot of things of that nature type shit. Yeah. Creative artist, let's throw all that in there.
There
Extras.
you go.
Extras. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Nat.
My name is Natalie, or Nat. I'm a new mom. I have a 4-month-old. My brand new adventure. And I'm an event coordinator. And most of my events are for nonprofits in the Houston area. But bigger nonprofits like American Heart Association, MD Anderson, Memorial Hermann. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's like my job is huge and my life is huge. And those are like the 2 things that are me. And I'm in Houston too.
All right. I'm Ramone Dixon. Y'all know who this is. Blue.
What's up, everybody? I'm based in LA, Lancaster right now, California. I am a spiritual business coach for entertainers, but I focus on entertainment. I was an actor for a couple years, so I'm very passionate about the entertainment industry. Anybody with a passion, I'm passionate about.
Good deal.
All right, Hayward. Are you on mute?
Hey, how's it going? My name is Hayward Crawford. I am a filmmaker, financial coach. I'm actually here in Los Angeles, original Detroit, Michigan native. I was invited by Blue. And yeah, I just pretty much help ordinary people create extraordinary films and help ordinary creatives create extraordinary finances. So thanks, Blue, for inviting me out, and excited to learn more about the mental. We need more of this. So.
All right, Rich.
Yo, what's going on? My bad. I'm late and shit. My name is Rich. I am based in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I was invited by Mom, and I'm really interested in hearing what kind of topics we touch on today.
All right. So I want to start out with since it's obviously mental health is one of the toughest things for anyone to ever discuss in the history of mankind, right? I feel like it's flowing under the surface far too long. Depending on your upbringing, depending on things you've seen, the things you've been through, I feel like every day we fight to be resilient and move forward, but in the process, the things we tend to forget, those things tend to never really leave us and catches up with us later. So, but with that being said, I want to know, when it comes to social media, what role does social media plays when it comes to dealing with mental health, and also what are the things that you do to not let it overwhelm you? Because it's part of our everyday lives. We always want to know what's going on. We want to be connected. We want to feel connected, but it can affect us in so many different ways when we're chasing for likes, we're chasing for comments, we're trying to promote something that we're trying to do, we're trying to connect with people that we know, and obviously it's a place where people that you probably know who wants to put things on social media like things is good, and you really know them for real, is like, no, it's not. But they feel like they need to feel better about themselves. So I'm gonna start the other way. No, I'm gonna start with Rich. How do you feel? How social media play a role, and how do you not let it overwhelm you?
I feel like social media plays a huge role in like a lot of how people feel on a daily basis, more so now than anything else, for the simple fact that you only see people's best life on social media. So by design, most times you compare that to your own life. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got a lot of people that do that. One way that I kind of handle it is I check in, I might make a post, you know what I mean? And then I hop right back out. You know what I mean? I don't do too much scrolling, because a lot of times, even if you don't see anything that, might make you mad or something like that, you might see, a disturbing video. You know what I'm saying? You might see a bunch of different things that affect your emotional state differently, and you can't really control it sometimes, because a lot of that shit you really don't even know you passionate about, or you don't even know that you care about until you see it. You know what I mean? So one way that I usually handle it, I'll get on there, I'll probably post my music or something funny or something inspirational or insightful, and then I'll get out. I think it's the fear of missing out that a lot of people have. Like, they got to see what's going on, you know what I mean? And then at the end of the day, that it really don't make no difference to your life. You know what I'm saying? You can be gone for like a month, and then you come back, and it ain't shit changed. You know what I'm saying? You got people on there, they still flexing, you know what I'm saying? Still capping, you know what I mean?
Big cap.
Cabin.
Caps. Big caps.
All right. How about you, Hayward?
Yeah, I think it was Rich. You kind of hit the nail on the head. I kind of learned to emotionally detach, especially from Facebook. I mean, I see a lot of us are millennials around here. We were on Facebook the early days, like the 2004, 05. I don't know if you remember pre-made Facebook statuses.
Oh man,
Like
that's beautiful.
Hayward is at the
The
library.
college
Hayward
email?
is- exactly. He is a college email.
That's
So of course, all our parents, the old heads, are on it now. So I've been on it like 13 years. So to me, I'm just emotionally detached from it, and I treat social media guys like my business partner. To Rich's point, I post and I don't scroll. All right. And basically, of course, you know, I do like a combination of like inspirational stuff about my business and things I'm up to. And of course, for some people, you got to just throw up, you know, I fall for it. You got to just throw up like a silly meme, just something stupid of a cat. You know, you get a few likes because, you know, people need like a little bit of everything. But yeah, I definitely don't see it as something I need validation from. Like I get it. I put one post and they get a bunch of likes, 60, 70. Then I get another one, you know, just yesterday got like 2. But I'm just kind of emotionally detached from it because part of it is running a business for me. And, you know, of course, connecting with family and friends, you throw up, you know, personal stuff too. But yeah, I just don't let the validation get to me because some of us were on Facebook before there was even a like, or there was even a like, a comment, a heart. So it's like, I'm not going to trip about it anymore. I'm kind of just posting and I, you know, leave. And, you know, of course, you got to, you know, put stuff out there to, you know, inspire other people. So, yeah, I treat it like a business partner, you know, basically.
So I know that it's not a chronological order anymore, but Hayward, afterwards, I need to meet up with you because I need to learn how to create a status where I get 70 likes. Because, you know, I'll post something, I'm like, oh, I got it in my bag. And then you go check, and nobody liked anything. You're like, I'm talking to myself. Anyway, so, all right, Blue.
So, you know, so honestly, the first thing that came to my head when you asked, I was like, you know what, how do we define mental health as just like people? Because, you know, what's interesting about the 2 answers so far, it's about detaching us emotionally from something. And, you know, the question to my head comes, is that combating mental health? You know, like, what is mental health? Is it that feeling that we do get? Because Rich, you brought up that was a good point about FOMO. People do get mad FOMO off of social media, and it does create emotional disturbances. But is that mental health? Or, you know, like, you know, so one, when you asked the question, I was like, oh man, this is like big for me, because how I look at it is, you know, I like what Hayward said. He said, I treat it like a business partner. That was the first time I heard it like that. I like that. And I say that because, you know, being somebody who's like a business coach person, we look at all social media as just as like, it's marketing, you know, it's the new marketing. You know, it was radio and TV. Now we're on the social media platforms. So if we can look at it that way, you can actually just use social media. It's just another way to express yourself, but who you truly are, you know. And you know, speaking to what Hayward said, combine like treating as a business partner. To me, I look like how I coach people. Our life is our business. Like, we don't. When people separate it, I think that you know, that feeling of can happen. It's like, well, I need a work-life balance. It's like, well, isn't your work your life? Isn't your life your work? You know, so that's just one way to look at it. But to answer your question of like, how is it related? I think that a lot of people do a lot of bashing on social media. I think that the trolling thing is a real thing. You know what I'm saying? So these are the things I say isn't adding to it, but that's just a bad person being a bad person. I don't know if y'all follow this dude. His name is Gary V, but he talks about it all the time. He's like a big social media dude. And when people come on his channel and trolls him, he says, what do? You feel empathy for that person, because that person had to be sitting on their phone. They have to look at your content that's 30 minutes to an hour and then go, I don't like it. They could have stopped at 1 minute and a half. So he says, like, he's like, feel bad for them. So how does it affect it? Big ways. A lot of trolling and stuff just still happen in humanity, period, and it gets translated heavy through social media. that part don't like too much. But the counter to that is, you know, look what we're doing with media right now. This can go and somebody can hear something and get inspired from it and go, you know what, I'm not gonna get FOMO no more. I'm not gonna treat social media as something separate from my business. I'm gonna treat it as my business. Or, you know, somebody can watch this and do that. So it could be very inspirational and helpful at the same time. So that's the long, short answer.
All right, what up, Aisha? Aisha, introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, where you living, the way you breathe, what's your favorite food, Osprey? So yeah, all that stuff.
I'm tired, y'all. I just got for it. My name is Aisha. I am a scientist / artist. Scientist by day, artist by night, and I'm here.
So
my day job.
I'm gonna jump to Brit because I know she's limited on time. But real quick, since we're talking about mental health and the role we let social media play when it, you know, mental health and how we not let it overwhelm us. And since you are the social media expert, I would like to ask you, Aisha, about social media, the role it plays in your life and how we not let it overwhelm.
That's me?
So yeah, Aisha, yeah, my bad.
You said I'm the social media expert?
Yes, you love social media.
Shit. Like what role does it play in my life?
Yeah, and how do you not let it overwhelm you? How it affects your mental health, please?
How do I not let it overwhelm me? I'm still working on that, actually. I don't know. I just have to put it in perspective on a daily, a lot of times. For me, I get stuck in wanting to produce content and kind of be like a performing monkey for social media. And I need to realize that I don't have the time for that. And I'm just not made for that. Just to, you know, as an artist, I'm not a print making machine. I'm not just here to just make stuff so I can put it out so people can like it and move on with their lives. Like, I'm here to make art and to build a name for myself, a business, and ultimately a legacy. So a lot of times I just have to get out of my feelings and just be like, okay, am I doing this because I think that if I post this, it will get likes or get attention or whatever? Or am I posting this, or am I doing this because I actually want to and I love to? So that's a constant balance. But like I told you before, Ramone, if it wasn't for art, I wouldn't have social media. So social media does do a lot to my mental health because I don't like it at all. But it's a necessary evil for me. So yeah.
Damn near for all of us now, necessary evil. Anybody that's an entrepreneur, low key.
Yeah. So social media expert.
You know, it's interesting, everyone. I'm gonna jump to Brit real quick, but the biggest thing about social media is you're gonna have people that you rock with, that you know, that you're familiar with, but you're more likely trying to introduce yourself to a bunch of people who don't know you at all. And what ends up happening is you feel like you spend more time trying to cater to them and make sure you move a certain way for people to understand you than the people that already know who you are. And I think that can create a lot of issues. That's why I think that people who finally become famous, you see a tweet or something they said 7 years ago when they was wilding out, and they have to answer for it now, right? You know, and that's why we said it's interesting when it comes to Instagram and Twitter, you can choose who you decide to follow. Facebook, the same thing, but unfortunately, a lot of people that's your Facebook friends is people that you've been around, you went to high school with, your friends and your family, and then you have to admit that sometimes they trash, and so you have to unfollow them secretly. I know some people deal with being friends with people at the job, and you have to tread lightly when it comes to that.
Yeah.
So Brit, how about you on this one?
think that we can't talk about mental wellness without also talking about emotional wellness. I think they kind of like coincide about how you feel. I look at old memories, and I was a very emotional poster.
The memories, boy. You be like, yo, I was really like this.
I look back and I'll be like, I'm happy that people didn't give up on me back then, because I'm like, whoever she was, we don't even need her around. Like, you know, the fact that people stuck with me to now to see like me evolve, that's great. So I post with intentionality. If I wasn't an artist, I probably wouldn't be on Facebook as much or social media, period. And because people have called me an influencer, and I didn't know that per se. I didn't know that people were going to things because I said I was going to things, or, you know, if I'm hosting something, you know, they wouldn't know about it. I didn't have a street team. So if I didn't post that, you know, oh, I have this open mic that I'm hosting or whatever, and then all of a sudden you notice that nigga's not showing up because no one told them, because I have to be the one to tell them. And so, you know, then they look to me because I inspire others. Like, people tell me on a regular what I do for them. And half the time I'm posting for me. It's not for nobody else. If somebody resonates with it, that's great. But I'm posting for my mental wellness. And so understanding the climate, so you might get something funny or like inspirational that I'll share. I found in the memories of, you know, maybe 3 years ago, it's something that's fitting for the climate right now. And so you can manipulate those posts by making a comment, and it just posts like it's like you just posted it that day. No one's
my life
checking.
I'll be doing that shit.
Just like when they be posting like satire, when they be posting satire articles anyway, no one checks for that. They say, you know, RIP, that was 5 years ago, but they just caught on. So now they want to go up here and make it seem like it's breaking news. So a lot of people don't have that etiquette too, social media etiquette. I say even fools have a platform, so, and everyone has a following. So you're going to get people who just want to hear themselves talk. They find their value on your platform. I've seen people go to my posts just to oppose. Like, oh, I like this show. I don't really care for that show. Why couldn't you just keep scrolling? Why did you have it? You know, but they want to be seen and heard and valued so bad that they will ride the wave of your platform because they know that people are following it just so they can go up here and feel like they belong. Because, you know, and I've noticed that, like, it plays on their emotion. Like, if no one likes my stuff, was my post any good? Who cares if they like it? So for my sanity, like, I have almost 5,000 friends. I used to be at 5,000 all the time because of who I am, but I removed a whole bunch of people. And honestly, majority of people that are my friends on Facebook post really good stuff. And a lot of stuff I don't see because so many people are always posting anyway that I will miss it unless you tag me. So I don't, it doesn't bother me when everyone is dealing with tragedy at the same time, like the whole thing with Kobe or something, you know, happens and then everyone is like talking about it. That's when I have to take a break because I'm an empath. So I'm feeling everyone's stuff on top of mine. So I have to take a break, but I know my own triggers. When you know yourself, then you know how much time you should be spending, you know what I'm saying? Like, because social media is just connecting people. We're just connected. A few of us are from Parkside. We met through Parkside, so we're friends because of that. But so that was our only common thing until we found out that, oh, some of us are artists or some of us did this. But if all we had was the school and then you start posting some out-of-pocket stuff, what is it to delete you? We only was connected because of the school. We don't even go to the school no more. I don't need you. Like we good. You're not bringing no kind of value to me, and vice versa. So I think people have to take a little bit more charge for their own personal wellness. And if you start seeing stuff that's plaguing you emotionally and mentally, then you need to do some cleaning, because people, they shouldn't care so much if you delete them or not. I mean, there's a reason behind it, and your only reason could be like, because I needed you to go. I choose me over you. It's social media. Like, don't let it plague your life like that. And this is coming from an artist who people put a lot of pressure on all the time. I don't care. I will delete this account and you'll never see me on Facebook again. Ever.
I did that.
Not there yet, Asia. But when I do, it's a done one. I'm never coming back. So
I deleted my shit off Facebook. I hate Facebook. Facebook is the devil. It's the worst of them all. I cannot. And I did that for my mental wellness, because Facebook, I don't know. People like to show their ass extra on Facebook, and I can't.
Yes, they do.
I cannot.
I wouldn't even have a Facebook if I was an artist. Like, to think about it, I was late to social media, extremely late. I didn't want to be involved in this shit like that. Only reason why I got involved because niggas was starting to get deals from this shit. So I said, damn, nigga, I got to get on this shit now. It's the only reason why. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, I was fine being disconnected from all of this shit because it was, I mean, people are so insecure and you can see it. Like, it's coming through their posts, through their pores. You can see it and impacts everybody. People are super emotional. People don't read posts that they posting. Like, nobody, the date is from like 7 years ago and niggas think it just happened yesterday.
Exactly.
Like,
bro, I saw a stimulus. I saw a stimulus
lot.
check post earlier today. Like, oh man, we get new stimulus checks. Fucking post was from April 10th, bro.
Oh, see, this is what
Is
I'm
that
saying,
a new
Rich.
thing? Is that a new thing? Because when I was on Facebook last time, that didn't happen.
No,
like they had memories, but like you could clearly see it was a memory.
People just don't read. They don't read.
They
dates.
just look at the headline and share that shit and form
They don't
they
don't fact check or nothing. They just post it.
Form a whole opinion on that shit.
I got off of Facebook during 2016 because of, we know what happened in 2016, that fucking election, and it was just rampant. And I was like, you know what? Bye. I don't need this in my life. Goodbye. So.
Real quick, we had Lewis enter the room. Introduce yourself, Lewis. Tell us what you do. And yeah. Oh, you're on mute too.
He's still talking.
Not artist.
All right, wait, Lewis, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Restart because you was on mute.
Oh, my fault. Okay. Lewis O'Neal. I'm not an artist. Just a postal carrier. Shit sucks. Especially with this quarantine shit. People are nasty. It's great.
All right.
Well, all right.
Right now, Lewis, what we just talking about, social media, the role it plays in our lives, affects our mental wellness. Thank you. I was trying to figure out the word I kept saying it all. Mental wellness and how we don't let it overwhelm us. And all right, so Natalie, I'd like to say she really expressed something so interesting and opened up about something. I feel like it was dope. Because I know part of our wellness has to do with anxiety. Anxiety plays a major role. And so, Natalie, how about you?
Before Natalie starts, I gotta get up out of here, y'all. I'm so sorry. I gotta go.
All right.
Good to see you,
guys.
Brett.
So good to see
Hey,
you.
Brett, before you go.
Yeah.
Before you go.
Yes.
All right, bye.
Silly dude. Have a good one, guys.
All right. Peace.
All right. So before moving on with anxiety and everything, I do want to piggyback on the social media stuff. I feel like with, Facebook, how it was before, it was a lot of fun. MySpace was a lot of fun. Like, we were at an age where we could express ourselves. It was so different. And now we have to monitor so much of what we see, what we put on, because it's not just us on there. Like, it's not just our friends on there from high school anymore. It's just like, here's my boss, here's, my grandma or my mother-in-law. And unfortunately, we have to monitor it so much more than I feel like I would like to. I feel like I always have to be like, okay, if you're going to post this, let me know. If I'm going to post this, I'll let you know, and, make sure that it's okay with everybody, or make sure that I don't see things that I don't want to. And it's so much more work than it is fun anymore. And, you see so much FOMO and, ridicule and people just posting crazy shit. And it's just like, people obviously have time to do this. I don't. So as for me and my social media, my Facebook, I'll post every once in a while just to kind of keep everybody like, hey, here I am. Other than that, work-wise, I do feel like I need to do a bit more. Because with event coordinating, I'm like, man, I work with video, I work with sound, I work with production and all this. And I want to, put that out more. So I feel like I do have to work on that part. But with social media evolving, I feel like we have to, maybe not in the best way that we want to, but it's almost a necessity. But with anxiety, I was telling Ramone that I have been going to therapy since I was a kid. I started in speech therapy from like elementary school, and I told Ramone, I'm like, I had like the worst stutter when I was a kid. It was hilarious. It was kind of fucked up. So I had a therapist, and I had the best therapist. His name was, oh shit, what was his name? It was Derek. Oh, fuck. It was so cool, and now I'm like drawing blanks. Not drawing blanks, drawing a blank. But anyways, Poindexter, there you go. His name was Derek Poindexter, and he was my first therapist. And he was just like the coolest fucking dude ever. And I feel like everybody should go to like a real therapist at least once in their life. Just to experience like talking to somebody who knows nothing about you, and you have the space to just kind of express who you are and to kind of tell them anything you want. And they have no judgment, and they kind of might help you. And I've always dealt with anxiety, but it wasn't like I'm sad anxiety. It was like I have too much to fucking say. It was like I'm all over the place. Someone put me, let me focus. So when Ramone asked me to do this, I was like, oh, dude, I have a lot of experience with mental health and therapists and exercises and kind of things that we realize we do for ourselves to keep ourselves mentally sane and emotionally sane. Because if we're not good, then we can't be good to our children, to our spouses, etc. So yeah.
All right, so we have a couple of new people in here. So we first have MoonSparkle. You'd like to introduce yourself? And you're on mute right now, so just let you know.
No, I'm just joining the group, seeing what's going on, connecting. It seems like a topic, so yeah.
All right. And how about you? We have Oscar.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Oscar Armando. I actually was invited by Blue Lindsay. He said you guys were talking about mental health today, and I actually grew up caring for a couple people who were what you would call medically diagnosed with situations of like mental health conditions, and they're really close people, and so I just wanted to chime in and see what was going on today. Thank you for having me on here.
Oh yeah, no problem. And so just to kind of catch you up, right now we're just talking about social media and the role it plays to our mental wellness, and what we do and how we not let it overwhelm us. So we just had Natalie. We're gonna cardiac Ant.
What up?
So how about you, man?
What's the question?
Oh yeah, the social media and the role it plays to your mental wellness, and how you not let it overwhelm you.
I don't let it overwhelm me by just simply cutting it off. I think everybody's kind of said stuff that I kind of do. I try not to scroll too much because you'll see some toxic, dangerous shit going through. I don't know. I try to. I'm on it because I'm an artist and I have to be on it, but I try not to indulge too much. I know people who are on it for too many hours of the day, and and it affects them in a way that I don't really want to be affected, because that shouldn't make me. I could be upset at my son or something somebody said, or it's a lot of different things that can come from social media that I try to stay away from. But I don't know, man. I think everybody's kind of said some of the things that I already do. And I said some stuff too when we were having our discussion. So, yeah.
All right. How about you, Billy?
Yeah, man. Some really insightful things that everybody's already shared. I think for me, when you ask the question, how do you deal with it, right? Like, I grew up in a place where I had a mother who said you live in two worlds. You live in the world, and then you live in the world of spirits, right? And so there's the spiritual warfare, and then there's the world warfare. But I think in our lifetime, we have this unique experience that a third world has been introduced to us, and that's the world of social media. And the interesting about this world of social media is it's a curation of whatever we wanted it to be, right? So we curate this world, but also as we're curating this world, we have to understand that this world is make-believe, right? It's a make-believe world. And sometimes we're comparing what we've created in this third world to our real life. And we let that translate, we let that come over sometimes. And I think that's the part where it mentally hits us, right? I'm always, I mean, the average person, right? Good, bad, or indifferent. The average person is on social media 2 hours and 22 minutes a day, right? That's the stat. So the average people are on 2 hours and 22 minutes a day. Now, let me rewind you a little bit. I just introduced new information to you. 2 hours and 22 minutes a day. I introduced that. You don't know if I grabbed that out the air. You don't know where it came from, but I just introduced that to you. And that's the danger of social media, is that somebody's introducing something to us consistently, and sometimes we're taking that as scripture that translates over to the real world. And it's sometimes hard to unblur those lines. So for me, the way that I try to deal with it is I try to acknowledge it, that it is a make-believe world, and I try to separate myself from it. I mean, we started out our conversation today talking about working out. And if you look at my Instagram, and you said, hey man, you always stuck on swole, right? Blah, blah, blah. And I disagree with this, right? That's not my perception of myself. And part of the reason I disagree with this is because when I go to my Instagram, the first 3 pictures that I see are guys who just blow me out of the water and are just jacked, right? So now I'm constantly having these insecurities when I could be just, if you ask my wife, she's like, babe, you got a great physique. I love the way you look. But for me, I'm always chasing this idea of social media. And so I think I try my best, and I fall victim to it as well. But I try my best to separate social media and understand that it's make-believe. But I would be lying to you, and I would be naive to think that I'm an expert at doing that all the time. So I applaud the Asias of the world and the Brits of the world who have been able to disconnect and to really been able to separate that line, because it is a dangerous line. And I think as Black people, sometimes we to Nat's point, is the culture. We don't get the therapy to talk about it. Sometimes we just are consistently just taking it on headstrong and like, hey, if this person is doing this in make-believe world, my life should be like this. And you know, it's just a constant battle that I'm always kind of figuring out and trying to navigate through. So,
well, see, it really is unfortunate because the reason why this is so important, because I did a podcast episode of this and I just talk about myself. But my biggest problem is we expect people to be resilient for everything, and I don't expect someone to be as resilient to get through shit. Because if people was really that resilient to get through things, this world would be a better place. Which means that people need help. People need the ability to be comfortable to reach out and find an olive branch to find what they need in order to get through it. And I'm a person where I feel like the struggle is overrated. Most people shouldn't go through what they have to go through in order to grow. There's certain, like, I don't see, if I get shot in my leg and had to get my leg amputated, it's like, well, this happened for a reason. Like, yeah, I'm not dead, but that doesn't mean I had to go through this in order to learn a lesson. I don't see that. That's why I think the struggle is overrated. I just feel that way. There are things that people have gone through in their lives where I don't feel like it was deserved or it should be excused to why it happened. I just feel like that shit should never happen in the first fucking place. I'm very passionate about that because people are not as resilient as we expect them to be. It's like, and like I said before, what social media does is, okay, if I'm dealing with something and I need some type of healing, and let's say I'm crawling forward and I'm just trying, every day I wake up, I'm just crawling, but I'm watching this person run and I'm watching this person, how they take things head on, but they're walking with their chest out. I look at it as, I'm glad that you're crawling, because you could be going backwards. You could actually be standing still and not fighting every day to be better. And I think that's why I wanted to approach this head on, is because it's this weird expectation that the shit we've gone through, 100% of the kids lose their innocence because of adults, because of the fact that our generation is basically, especially when people shit on millennials like, oh, well, y'all have this and doing this and having this. we are still dealing with the pressures to make things better for things that in our minds should have been better a long time ago. You know, like we're still taking on challenges that we look at history and say, oh man, that's crazy. In history, 50 years ago, they're dealing with that, and we're still dealing with that shit now, right? And to me, it becomes this unnecessary pressure that we have to save the world. We have to correct the mistake of our parents. We have to correct the mistakes of this country. Like, it's just this constant battle. And then one thing we get frustrated on social media is the way people think, and we're trying to save our lives. We're trying to save everybody else's lives, and we just want to help people that we're close with. And it's just so overwhelming. It's so overwhelming. And then when we have kids, like BR, Blue we talked about growing up, is when your relationship with your dad, and if it's something's lacking, and all the things that you're learning, we're learning on the fly. All this shit we're learning on the fly. Me about to be a husband and eventually be a dad, I'm going to be learning on the fly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I have my mom and things like that, and I have the lessons, but there are a lot of things that the role I play in the value I have in my life, I am learning this shit on the fly. So more likely, if people see how I am about things, as long as it's not fucked up or anything, I'm going to be judged for, well, you should have did this as a man. It's like, yo, I'm still trying to figure this out for myself. So how the fuck I'm going to teach someone else about these things? And so it just, everything I hear is just, I really had to get that one off. Justin, you'll go.
We're still talking about social media, right?
Yeah, social media, and how you not let it overwhelm you.
I turn my notifications off, like, and then I tuck my app like in a folder and on the last page of that folder. So if I want to check Facebook, I really got to check Facebook. Like, I really got to go search for it, and that's helped a lot because I got tired of people that I know personally just talking about putting all their business on Facebook. I can't do it. Like, I'm always kind of cryptic about how I post things. My son's not all over the place, but motherfuckers know I got a son. Just know that I'm a good father. I just don't post them all the time. I don't post a lot of my personal business. I go through a lot, but you don't always see that on my timeline. I kind of keep a lot of that stuff close to the vest. But like a couple of the other artists have said here, it's a delicate line that you got to walk, because we got to play that game, whether we want to or not. We have to throw content out there, and you got to be somewhat, visible until you get to a point where you can be like a Kendrick or a J. Cole, where you drop where you want to, where you got a whole team that's running your social media. But for right now, it's me. And I try to just post maybe, my links, all my guys' link. If I see you share it, I'm going to share it. Go watch your video for a couple seconds, so you get the view count. And then just log off. Go do what I do. Go learn some stuff. Go read some stuff. And go work out. That's pretty much it. I try not to be on it all day so that it doesn't affect me.
All right. We're going to go with MoonSparkle. I didn't get the name. I totally forgot already, but I'm going to call you MoonSparkle because it's the name. So,
Mm-hmm. I accept that.
All right.
I like everything that I've heard that Vivian said. That's things I've used to help me with social media. I do like cleanses where I just take time off of social media. One thing I did is I went through and filtered my social media to make sure that I was seeing everything positive. No offense to like my friends who were posting like all their business, but I just had to filter. So every time if I do attempt to look at my social media, I'm always seeing something positive. So that helps me. But pretty much I follow some of the things that people said before me. And the other guy, I can't think of his name, but I like how he said his mom taught him that there was, the reality, the spiritual realm, and then social media realm, because that's something that I'm learning new, that is, you are being exposed to information, and you got to go and pick it apart for yourself to even see if it's something that you want to take in. So that, and I try to be mindful of who I'm accepting requests from, just to see like what their intentions and their integrity or who they are as like a person before I even attempt to like follow that person. But that's about it.
All right. How about you, Lewis?
What's up?
Sky. Now, social media, you know, the role it plays in your life and what your mental wellness and the ways you don't let it overwhelm you.
Shit, I'm realizing I need to stay my ass off of it. It seemed like a black hole. It seemed like nothing good comes from it. You know, I'm trying to put, you know, a lot of my focus into, you know, working out, listening to a lot of audio books and stuff like that, because, you know, it's so easy to, you know, swipe over and let's see what's going on the news feed on Facebook, you know, but it's just a distraction. It's such a distraction.
All right. And how about you, Oscar?
I've actually, I think it was, let's see, Billy. Yeah, Billy was talking about like the spirituality, and so was MoonSparkle. I've gone on this like spiritual journey of just getting to know myself better. Social media hasn't really been like a priority in this time, the last like, I want to say 4 or 5 months. It's just like, you got to know, I guess you got to know yourself to be able to understand like what your goals and your priorities are. And social media like isn't a priority for me at this time, just because I am a filmmaker, and you know, I do produce a lot of different types of projects and things like that. But right now, like that's not part of my job, if you will. So like if it has nothing to do with like what I'm working on right now, I don't really go on there. Updates and stuff like that, I use like, you know, news that is centered around my profession. So I'll go on Deadline, or I'll go on, you know, Variety, or, you know, like entertainment type of news and things like that. But I won't go on there, you know, like Facebook and stuff like that to like scroll and see what other people are saying and stuff like that. It's more oriented towards like specific purposeful things. So I find myself, it's worked for me just because I like to, you know, instead of trying to figure out like what someone's doing on a Friday night or something like that, it's like, okay, what am I doing on a Friday night? You know what I mean? And also like, what are the people that I'm affecting doing on a Friday night? And then just grow from within and then outwards. That's how I've approached this.
I like
so, that. Yeah, rock with that. So this one, I'm combining these together somewhat, but what's interesting about all of us is, even though we have our own issues and the things we're trying to figure out, it's interesting that others might be going something and we be the first ones to go help the next person and not focus on ourselves, right? You know, sometimes it helps us get through things like, look, I'm dealing with this shit, but I'm gonna help my friend go through this, or I'm gonna give him advice, and more likely probably won't follow our own advice, right? But the reason why I want to blend a few things is some people said the things they did when it comes to social media, but I want to kind of get into like the hobbies, helping others, maybe the hobbies, and also your expectations when you're in a relationship. Like, okay, you meet someone, you feel like this is a great person, you might have your flaws, you're dealing with some things, and being in relationships can be interesting because usually in relationships, you end up meeting the representation of that person. And the more you get to know that person, they are really going through some things. And so, you know, you have the cases where you're dating someone dealing with some things. And so you spend so much time trying to make that person better, you end up emptying your tank, working on yourself.
Pros.
Yeah.
Man,
All right,
that
Pros too.
can you hear me? Okay.
There
All
it
right.
is.
So, but just I really want to get to this part. Like the hobbies, more of the, you know, because some of you said some things, but kind of the olive branch, and maybe others can feed off that. Oh, I want to try that. Tell me, what do you do for that? How can I do what you do? I want to do that, but also your expectations for your family, your friends, and also your loved ones. Because, all right, for example, a lot of my friends are Pisces, and I don't know why this really matters. So I have a homeboy. hear that he was going through some things, right? And he just stayed at home. And so we all worked together for DJ stuff. My homeboy AJ, you know, he got to know my homeboy a little bit, and he called his phone and wanted to talk to him about some stuff, but he didn't answer his phone. So he calling me like, yo, man, what the fuck is wrong with Trey, dog? He ain't answered his phone. And for me, I know him. So I know, like, hey, he just want to be at home. He want to hang out. You know, he just want to be to himself. So on occasion, I might drop by and say hi and probably get him out the house. But, that you know, he knows that if like our friends that know that, look, if I'm not talking to y'all, if I'm not, you know, communicating and, you know, I don't hit y'all back up, it's nothing wrong. It's not anything against y'all. It's I'm dealing with stuff. So I know that you have to deal with that for the people you know, especially when it comes to loved ones or someone you're living with. So what are your expectations from your family members? Because, you know, sometimes your mom and dad don't understand when you're going through things because they always had it worse. But, you know, what are your expectations for, you know, people like your family or your friends or your significant other? I'm going to start out with Billy on this one.
Man, great question. There's so many things running through my mind as I troubleshoot this question. I think when you ask me what are my expectations for my family, so I think of my wife, right? My wife, I hate the way this is going to sound, but my wife, I'm not responsible for my wife's happiness, right? And she's not responsible for my happiness. And we don't live in that world where I come home from work and it's like, I got to make my wife happy. Like that doesn't run through my mind. She's responsible for her happiness and I'm responsible for mine. And that means we have 2 kids together. So I owe it to her to make sure that she's getting personal time so she can continue to do things that make her happy. And she owes it to me to make sure that I'm getting whatever time I need to make sure that I can be happy as well, right? And we've got to figure out that balance between the both of us. So my expectations is she's being transparent with me and she's being honest with me and telling me what she needs to continue to be happy. And then when we come together, that's when we're at our best, right? And we can travel the world, we can do what we like to do, overcome any kind of obstacles. So I guess the expectation would be transparency and honesty to get what she needs. I want to hit on what Nat said earlier, because I think there's this big idea, right? Like when we talk about therapy, I think of therapy like world-class athletes, and it's becoming more important because, like we spoke about, we're in this world of social media, so we have an added layer of stress on all of us. And we're not, with the added layer of stress, we're not doing anything to defend ourselves. And if you think of world-class athletes, and I'm sorry that I use sports analogies and athletes, but if you think of world-class athletes, to be a world-class athlete, you have to practice. Every world-class athlete in the world has practice. Michael Jordan, anybody, Michael Phelps, anybody has been in the gym, been in their craft for hours a day. And I think if we want to be world-class lovers, if we want to be world-class spouses, if we want to be world-class parents, then we have to practice and we have to take care of our mental health for ourselves so we can be that world-class parent for our people who are in our loved lives. And for some people, like Nat expressed, it's therapy. Therapy is that practice. For some people, it might be the gym. For some people, it might be going out for a run. And for some people, heck, it might be smoking some weed or cigarettes. I don't know, right? And that's not for me to judge. But whatever you need to do to make sure that your mental health is on point, you've got to figure out how to do it and how to do it in a productive way. So it benefits your mental health overall. So for me, that and to sum it up, for me, man, it's a lot. Like I find therapy a lot, and it's gonna sound weird, but I find therapy in my weight journey, like in my working out journey. That works for me. It doesn't work for everyone, but that works for me. I also find a lot of peace when I'm with nature, and sometimes I feel like being with nature is being with God. And for me, you know, I find a lot of peace in that. My mother would tell you she found a lot of peace every Sunday going to church, and that wasn't my experience. I didn't find peace there. So it just depends on that individual person. So you know, that would be my best answer to that question.
All right, how about you, Hayward? I'm gonna scroll up and down on the chart here.
And I'm sorry, can you? Because I mean, Billy had such a good point. I wanted to kind of get like a quick recap of the question, so I can make sure to sort of, you know.
Oh, just the expectations when it comes to, you know, friends, your significant others, things like that. Just when it comes to your wellness, and I was just giving an example that when you're going through something, you know, you have these people around you. They still have all these things, expect all these things, and you're just trying to figure things out. And obviously, that means that you hope that you just have expectations out of people. I hope they're sense enough to kind of let you breathe and figure some things out about yourself as you
Yeah,
process.
I mean, as far as how you can lean on them or get advice or.
Yeah, or just what you have. Yeah, that and what you expect out of others in the process.
Okay. So this is my process. I'd say, and this is probably maybe a little different or radical, but I don't really follow advice from anyone who isn't have credibility in a particular area that I would want to be at. So for instance, like, okay, if I'm gonna go get relationship advice, am I gonna talk to my friend who I love from college, high school, but they've been single forever, versus maybe a couple's been married 10, 15 years. And same thing when it comes to like, diet, when it comes to business. There's different areas where sometimes just because we knew them forever, we just think that, okay, they come to this with this question, they come to this with that. But then a lot of times we end up getting advice from people that may not have the credibility in the area. They love us, they have the best intentions, but they may not be speaking from maybe a place of limitation as far as what they know and how they could really serve us, and same thing with me. Like, I'm not the person you come to for relationship advice. I'm still single. I'm still figuring it out going into my 30s. So I'm not going to like talk to Billy and say, Billy asked me a question like, yeah, my wife, she had it, I was struggling with it about this. I'm like, I'm not the good person to ask, bro, because I know like when it comes to integrity, I don't have the credibility in that area. So who am I? So I feel like a lot of people, we get caught up on, well, my homegirl, she was on the phone talking about this, and I told her she should do that, and vice versa. So I'm just a lot more conscious about like curating people that I know, like, I could get advice from. So their finances might be shot. They've been married for 20 some years. So somehow that part's working for them, even though they need help in finance. So I'll speak with them about that. So that's kind of my mentality, and yeah, just surrounding myself with people with credibility in that area. So.
Yeah, since first you say that, like, you go to somebody and you single, they married, like, man, what should I do? It's like, I don't know. You need to leave her to be out on the streets with me. Because there's so much out here you missing out on.
Exactly. So he'll talk you out of that marriage because your homeboy always at the club every night.
You drunk all the milk. You see, if you were single, you wouldn't have to worry about it. You drink all the milk like me. Anyway, yeah, I see the screen change a little bit. So, Lewis, how about you, man? What are your expectations?
But before y'all start, I gotta go, y'all. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, everybody. This is, good conversation.
Appreciate you.
All right, man. You be safe out here.
Hey, yo,
Ant.
All right, yeah,
What's
yeah,
up?
smooth, bro.
All right.
What up?
All right, man.
Nigga, you ain't shit. All
All right.
My biggest expectations. I mean, like if you see somebody going through something, I guess acknowledge it. You ain't got to be all in their business, but acknowledge it. Quick story. There was a carrier at my station, and his mother passed. He was going through, some issues, whatever. He kind of packed up and went like down south or whatever. He was on some Dave Chappelle, going to Africa shit. But everybody cracking jokes and he don't want his job, this, that, and the other. And it's like, look, like y'all think this is funny, but my man's going through something. Like I'm my brother's keeper. I don't know what you think, but it ain't cool you making jokes if dude thinking about taking his life, or he can't deal with it or whatever. Yeah, it's be aware of the man next door. Acknowledge it. Shit real.
And
Real quick.
oh yeah. And if you want to interject, my bad.
No, sorry. So just to kind of like before we move on to like a bunch of other things, I think, Billy, I love your Jay-Z quote over here because it goes with something that I actually wrote down. I'm a person who writes down everything. I'm usually organized. I think we're the generation we're a generation of not knowing, and I'll emphasize on that, but we're also the generation of knowing what's not. Like, we now know, like, hey, if you're mad, don't go home and beat your wife. We know that, you know? I think we're now a generation who acknowledges so much more, but we're still like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do in a situation because I don't like what my parents did, or I don't like what this person's parents did, or how we handled things in the past. How am I going to do it now? How am I going to do it different to where it helps grow my family, it helps grow my spouse, etc. And I think with that, we need to reach out to our resources, and then our resources become our therapy. So like resources, it's like, okay, I'm going to reach out to, for me, I always go to therapist. I'm like, don't know what to do with my spouse with this situation. I'm going to reach out to a spousal therapy. There's a word for them. Can't think about it. Couples therapy. Or, you know, we have so many resources now, which I think is amazing. It's like we can go to a community center and find it there, or we can do something with our spouse, do tennis, do whatever. And then that becomes your therapy. That becomes a new thing for you. And now you've developed a way to help your spouse. And that also helps with our expectations because, you know, unless we communicate, we will always assume. And my mother has always told me, you never assume. Because once you assume, then you're pretty much setting yourself and your family up for failure. You know? So it's like, you know, we have to find our resources, really look into ourselves and be like, I think this is what I want to do. Let's talk about it. We can try it out. If not, we'll move on to the next thing. Like, we are in a world now where luckily, I mean, it's kind of all fucked up, but luckily we can still, like, we know so much more. And then I think we need to take that and run with it and be like, then let's do even better. So yeah, before we went off to anything else.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because you mentioned like sometimes do things like couple therapy with tennis. Because I ain't gonna lie to you, when Sarah pissed me off, I want to get her on the basketball court so I can cross her over.
But that's good.
You let her know it's real. You know what I'm saying? Break the ankles, like, yeah, I ain't gonna cuss you out, but I give you this work on the basketball court. But anyway, so Blue, how about you? Well, before you start, Blue, I think I've known Blue for so long and everything, and I'm not gonna lie to you. Senior year of high school, when they had like, you know how they have like the visits of the different branches of the military, and so at lunchtime, Blue walk up, and he's walking around with a lanyard. And I'm like, yo, what's the live for? Yeah, I'm about to enlist. Fam, we supposed to be going to college, fam. What are you talking about? You out here going to the Navy? Hey, throw that away. But over the years, I always understood why he did it. You know, like that was the best option for him because of circumstances and things like that. But yeah, I just wanted to praise you. And over the years, man, 15 years ago, I didn't understand, but I understand now. And everything you've been through that and all the reflection you've done.
I appreciate you, man, and you already know that. It's, you know, so this was an interesting question. I like the way that Billy answered it. He said, I don't know if people might like this or not, but you know, my wife's happiness is not my responsibility. Whoa. I like that. Why do I like that? For a couple reasons. I'm somebody like, for the people who know me here, y'all know that I'm like a big giver. I'm a giver type. So if somebody just naturally meets me, they'll be like, well, Blue wants you to be happy. Like, they're like, he's like that because he wants to see you smile and be happy. But I like how Billy said it. It's not, I know that it's not my responsibility, but I also pointed out to what Mo said. I learned a lot in the military, and one of them is, you know, like, my responsibility is just to myself, but if I can get that straight, other people can quote unquote benefit from it. And it's been that simple for my whole life, but it hasn't been as accessible. So through the military, it taught me how to do that a little bit. Relationships that I've had, it taught me that in a bunch of ways, because this expectation question, to me, it hits home when I'm thinking about relationships, like the girlfriend, boyfriend, like, or spouse relationship. Because it's crazy how just when that title comes into play, that I just noticed in my whole life, when that title comes into play, Mo's knows my first girlfriend, when that title comes into play, bunch of expectations come with it, and they can be kind of like what, you know, going back to, I love what Billy said. It's like, I'm expected to make you happy when we both are doing, we're trying something here. So saying that I need to make you happy is one thing. When I noticed that the pressure was on men a lot in relationships of like making the woman happy, blah, 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 when and somebody else here knows this. Well, I'm not going to call this out. I'm going to text first. Okay, so when the expectation is put on the man, I noticed for me being like a giver and a good dude, so to speak, I was like, well, what am I doing wrong? Like my whole life, right? And I was like, I cannot put this type of energy on no one else. So I made it a point to make sure that I'm not expecting my homeboy Mo to make me happy. I'm not expecting Oscar, who's been my business partner for X amount of years, to make me happy. You know, I made it a point because of, you know, just me growing up and just being aware. So my very spiritual answer here is, you know, I've notched out some values in life. I just call it this. I say honesty, loyalty, respect, vulnerability, and transparency. If we just have this, and I don't even expect it, I just say, if I find it, I'm going to make sure, like, that's an attraction to me. That's somebody I want at least by my side. Because once again, if you know me as a giver, I can't dismiss no one. It's very hard for me to be like, that person doesn't deserve a smile. Like, everybody deserves it. They're going through their evolutionary stage. It's not for me to say like, you need to be here or not. So I put no expectations on nothing. But I do have a value system that I had to create boundaries for me, because once again, as people here, some people know here, any type of person can be around me. And I've had friends stealing from me, but because I know me and I know I can, like, how much I can handle, they stayed around. But, you know, some of my honest friends, they didn't like that. So then they would fight. So, you know, I just created a value system, and I keep the ones on this value system. Who's ever honest, loyal, respectful, vulnerable, and transparent, I like that energy around me. Otherwise, I just go, well, thank you, and this is who Blue Yogi is. If you can grab something off of me, grab it. But if not, it's okay.
All right. How about you, Oscar?
Yeah, I'm right there with Blue. We have conversations almost every day about this kind of stuff, and it's really like, I've gotten to a place where I've understood that, like, when you have an expectation on someone, whether it be like I was like seeking a lot of my life, like trying to figure things out, like what am I doing wrong, like why don't relationships like work, and what is it that's like wrong with me? And it's funny how like we point ourselves, like we want to blame ourselves, but we also want to blame other things. And so what I found with like expectations, it's just the word itself is like, when you think expectation, it's like, oh, I think like limit, like, okay, or like I need something from you, right? Or I need something from myself. And it really puts you in a place where like you now have an obligation to something. And I think that if we just allow people be like just who they are and show us exactly like the way that they are, instead of having expectations, we'll get a much better result in anything. And like, I've been doing this thing where it's like, okay, I have no expectations and just like unconditional love for everybody, no matter what. Like, there's nothing on this planet that anybody can do that will make me not like feel like I can't empathize with them, like I can't understand them or love them. And so, you know, I go around and like, I'll say hi to people and just like randomly on the street, and some people are like, yo, what's wrong with this dude? Like, he's super happy all the time. And this one guy was just like, yo, why are you smiling at me? And I was like, I don't know, man. Like, I just think that, you know, it's a good day. And he's like, do you know me? And I'm like, no, I don't know you, but like, you know, good to meet you. He's like, why are you laughing at me? And I'm like, I'm not laughing at you, man. I love life. I swear, like, that's it. He's like, you love life? And I was like, yeah, man, like, that's it. I'm just happy to be alive. And he's like, oh, okay. He's like, you don't know me? I was like, nah. He's like, dang. He's just like kind of walked away, like all confused. And I was like, I don't know what it was. Like if it was something that he was dealing with, you know, personally, or maybe like something that was taught in the past. It's like, oh, like, you know, people just can't be happy. So again, with expectation, it's like, if I would have expected him to just know that like I wasn't laughing at him and just been like, wow, no, what you talking about? Like, you know, it could have been an altercation or something. But, you know, instead of just being truthful and being like, yo, man, I'm just excited to be alive. And he just took it like, well, damn, that's kind of weird, but I can't get mad at that. So, you know, with expectations, it's more like just knowing yourself again, and back to what Louis was saying, you know, acknowledge people. A lot of the times, like, just someone might just want to be heard, you know, someone might just want to be listened to. I know that was the case with, you know, the people that I grew up with. They felt like everything was wrong with them, and they were in and out of like sessions and therapy and stuff, and I was just like, dude, you're okay. You know, ain't nothing wrong with you. It's just a different journey for everybody. So, you know, just accept and be empathetic versus, you know, having expectations is what I say.
Yeah, before I go to Aisha, something that you mentioned is I've had to learn, even now being in a relationship I'm in, is everyone sometimes what ends up happening, even if it's through social media or anything else, or just meeting people, is it tends to become this competition of who had it worse. And that's not really the greatest thing. Like, there's some people who grew up a decent middle class lifestyle, and let's say they have a few things happen in their life and it's the worst thing that ever happened to them. You know, just because I've been through some shit, like, oh man, you know what I've been through, it's like their level, what they're going through is the worst of what they dealt with. The worst of what somebody else did with might be like, oh, that's nothing, that's a good day, right? And sometimes we project that on other people, you know, because, you know, and I feel like that tend to be a mistake. Now, I know that every day, when we was talking about social media earlier, the toughest thing to see is when people go through things and other people call them out and say, oh man, what you going through ain't a big deal. Probably a big deal to that person. Now, sometimes you might assume that maybe thinking they might be over-exaggerating, just trying to get attention. But I try to treat every situation, and I've met people who you might have questions about how extreme it is, or do they do it for attention, but I treat every situation as serious as I can, because one thing you can't come back from is the extreme. The ultimate ending is some people are willing to take their lives. And even if you felt like on a Tuesday, it was like, yeah, they sound like they wasn't serious about it, and they take their life on Wednesday, you're going to be sitting there looking back and have a lot of regrets of what you could have done. And I feel like that's one thing you don't want to live with. And so, yeah. So how about you, Aisha? Expectations and stuff like that.
It's interesting that you asked this, because I've been recently struggling with this, because in the friend part. So I'm one of those friends that gives better advice than I receive. And and it's like, it gets to me sometimes. Like, I feel like my friends can come to me and I will listen, and I will, you know, provide insight, and I will call it like I see it. I'm not really a sugarcoater either. And that has generally been appreciated from their standpoint. As far as I know, they haven't told me they don't appreciate it, but they've told me they do. But when it's my turn and I need somebody to, like, you know, reciprocate some insight, I get the, oh, that sucks. It's just like, you got anything else for me? And one of my other friends, she told me that I need to just, like, be outright and say, okay, I need for you, when I tell you this, I need to talk about this, and I need for you to, like, provide some insight or tell me what you think, and it's rather than me just expecting it, because I give it so willingly and other people don't, I guess. So yeah, that's something I've been trying to work on, because, you know, you just realize everybody doesn't move like you. They don't look at situations like you. They don't, you know, look at a situation, think, okay, well, they need me to just shut up and listen, or they just need me to provide some sort of, you know, advice or insight or whatever. So yeah, I've been going through that and realizing that I need to speak up. As far as for my relationship, I agree wholeheartedly with Billy. Yeah, my man is not responsible for my happiness, and I'm not responsible for his. That comes, like, happiness, your true happiness comes from within, and your partner is supposed to be an added happiness or added asset or an just this, you know, this extra wonderness of your life or whatever. But as far as I need him to be the source of my happiness, that's just, that doesn't make any sense. Like, like I don't understand people that move around like that. That doesn't make any sense. If you can't be happy by yourself or alone with yourself, then you damn sure can be happy with somebody else. So yeah. So as far as my expectations in our relationship, it's communication. That's always been a big thing for me. I'm not one of those. If say, you know how a lot of people say, what's wrong with you? And they say nothing. And you're supposed to, like, figure it out. No, if you tell me nothing, it's gonna be nothing until you say what it is.
That's
That's just like, that's how I roll, because it's me realizing how other people move around, because I'm not one of those that will say nothing. If something's wrong, I'll say it. But I also know with him that, like, he'll tell me, like, I just need a moment. Like, okay, I'll give you that moment. And you come to me whenever you are ready to speak about it. But I do believe in talking about shit. Maybe that's the Gemini in me. I don't know. But you gotta talk that shit out. Like, you can't let it fester. I'm a believer in things fester. But yeah, that part of my relationship is good. And I mean, he's good at giving advice. So when the friends fail, I got him. But yeah, that's it.
Well, I see what's interesting about communication and giving advice is, I think it starts with trust, knowing that it's always coming from a good place. You know, even if it becomes criticism, like somebody, like, we know we have friends that be straight up fucking up, but you be like, look, fam, you fucking up. And then I say, oh, what you trying to say? They look at it like, damn, really, man? Like, and people sometimes need that. And same thing with relationships. Like, I say all the time, like, Sarah does not benefit me from shitting on her or talking down to her, because it doesn't benefit her, but it doesn't benefit me. I'm not going to get all the love that she wants to give to me, how she feel for me, by shitting on her or downing her a certain way. It would affect her mind, her body, and her soul. And I don't want that's for anyone I've ever come across. Like, I want that person to be themselves, and I want to be the best version of themselves. But I'm not really, I don't like drama. I don't like criticism. Like, it's not really my thing. Like, I hate it because it's unfortunate. Like, you know, because everybody takes it differently. You know, I can open up and say, look, I'm big, right? So if people come and say, hey, Ramone, man, you're a little too fat. It's just like, shit. But if they say, Ramone, I want you to be healthier because I want you to live a long time. I've known people who died in their mid-40s. I don't want it to be you. It's like, oh, shit. See how this sounds different than just saying it straight up. And so I feel like in relationships, the reason why I have this issue with this, because it's not benefiting what we're trying to get to in our lives and the love we have for each other. This is going to ruin what we have. The way you are acting is affecting yourself, is affecting others. And I feel like sometimes people, you know, it's needed. It is like, it's very essential, because I've learned the hard way that sometimes you might tell your significant other something that no one's ever told them before. And it's like, yo, they've been letting you get away with this shit for a long time. You know what I mean? Like, you never heard this shit before. You know what I mean? You like, yo, I just met you this long ago. You was 135 years old when I met you. You trying to tell me that somebody else told you this? So that tends to happen sometimes.
Hey, Ramone.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, awesome stuff. I do have to head out, but I appreciate meeting everybody. Appreciate you, Blue, for connecting me. And I wanted to just be in kind of the A nerd type, just how Blue kind of gets fulfillment off, making people feel lovey-dovey. I'm big on just resources. So first thing I want to share with you guys before I head out, if you guys follow on Instagram, his name is David McCuller. I'm from Detroit, like I mentioned in the D, and he was the founder of Detroit's first mental health gym. All right, built around mental health and everything like that. So I'm going to just pop his Instagram in the chat. And then also a quote that I heard as far as like everything we've been talking about, especially social media, is called Self-Love is a Cure for Self-Hate. And it's this video by from Tyrese. And it's like part of this like Black Excellence series that they do. So I just want to kind of give that to you guys as well. And then other than that, guys, I'm gonna connect Blue. I'm gonna connect with you later because I feel like between you and also Ramone, anybody else who wants to participate, there's definitely another project I actually just got approved for that we're piloting, and I want to get you guys involved. So I'll talk with you more, Blue, about that because this is really great. I'm sorry I got to head out, but I will be in touch, Blue, and then me, you, and Ramone can connect on that project. All right?
Yeah, please do. Please do.
All right, y'all. Y'all have a good one. Thanks.
All right, man. Be safe out here.
I need to go too.
All right, Aisha. Check the dudes. All right, you be safe, Aisha. Thank you for attending.
Bye.
I'll catch you later. All right. Does anyone else want to leave? No,
Philip's like, can I come out now?
No, but
I'm like, no, Philip, you stay in your room.
I wanted to say this while Asia was in here, and you spoke a little bit about it, but it's so interesting when she used the example of it's hard to get good advice. Like she's the giver in all of her relationships, and she's the one who can give the best advice. And it's something that there's a couple things that I've read right throughout my life, like with helping build teams. And one of those books that I've read was this book called Strength Finders. Every high-level leader in every company has read Strength Finders. It's a book that tells you your top 5 strengths out of like 300 strengths. They tell you your top 5. And then after they tell you your top 5 strengths, they put you on a color chart. So you've got green, red, yellow, and blue. And they all mean something different. Well, what's interesting, and as I take that into my personal life, is I've realized I'm in the green wheel, right? Most of my strengths make me a green leader, which means personal relationships are very important to me. That's how I lead through personal relationships. And if I have 4 friends and all of their strengths are green, then I'm not going to get the people who are in the red category. And red is usually those people who are really direct. Yellow are the people who are like, hey, include me. I just want to go on emotion. And then blue are the people who are like, I need the details to everything. Now this is under the leadership guys, right? But I think it's super important for us to realize, like, we could have the greatest friends, but if we don't have a good variety and a good diversity of friends, then we can't be the best versions of ourselves when we're seeking feedback. And so it's super interesting. Like if you just sit down and write all your friends, right, and say, what is this friend really strong at, and what can I get from this friend to fill my cup emotionally or spiritually or whatever it is. We have to start being a little bit more strategic for the people we have in our inner circles, because like that will help complete us. And sometimes we have one person with the same train of thought 4 different times, and that's okay. You can be friends with all those people. I'm not saying lose those friends, but who are you including in your circle so you can diversify your group? Because you can't change somebody who's green and ask them to be red. It's not fair to them. So sometimes we have to seek out those relationships.
So basically, you try to say, if you yellow, get the fuck out my life.
Hey, listen, I tell you, I got no room for no more green people. I got a lot of green people in my life. If you green, we could be cool, but I need some red.
And if you got that green, I don't know anything about that.
Can I piggyback off of what Billy, I think that's Billy, was saying? When I heard him speaking, for me, I thought about, I'm really big on affirmation. So an affirmation that I love to say is that I am my own best friend. So I remember being in a space where I did have like a team of people who I would go to, probably the blue, yellow, green people. And I felt a lot like Asian, where I wasn't getting good advice or I was giving out and they weren't giving back. But when I think about myself as being my own best friend, a lot of times when it's issues with me, I like to spend time with me and meditate or figure out what it is that I need. I don't go a lot outside of myself to get too much advice. And then with relationships with people, I'm learning to do the same thing. I don't want to go talk to another person about who I'm in a relationship with, because that's like they could project some stuff. So I'm just finding my best relationships are the relationships that exist with only me and that person.
Yeah, I think it's really important. You know, sometimes we tend to, it's good to have a variety, because you never know what you'll take from each individual person. I've been fortunate, like, it's interesting when it comes to friendships and relationships, and even family. Like, you really can't choose who your family members are. Like, you can't. But what's interesting about people and what they deal with is you can't choose who your family members are, but you can choose who your friends are and who you decide to be with as your significant other. And I feel like people have to be reminded of that, because there are some people who they consistently, and sometimes it's a judge of character. Sometimes they feel like, you know, they don't understand that type of person that they think they need in their life is not the best person that should be around them. And I think people kind of just need to be reminded that, like, you know, it can be your choice that you decide to be around those type of people, or you choose who to be with. And you can, that's why it's great to have the type of friends you have to kind of let you know, as long as it's reasonable and not judgmental, because, you know, people have issues. Like, I might have a friend that might not like another friend, and they'll just based off the fact that they got a big head and they don't like big-headed people. But it's like you see that they are a detriment to your life, and you see they don't have no value to who you are, or they're not trying to get, even if they don't have value to get to you to the next level, at least they're not dragging you down. You know, I think people tend to realize that there are people in your life that you don't need all the time. I need this person to be in my life so they help me get to the next level. Not everybody, they're still trying to figure out where they at in their life. They're still trying to get to a certain level in life. As long as they don't drag you down, as long as they not grab you by the waist and you trying to run for the touchdown, you know, it just, I think it's important to remember those things. And yeah, so I ain't gonna lie to you, Billy, man, you out here you out here bar central. You know what I'm saying? You out here, you beating seagulls with the bars, you know what I'm saying? So
you just happen to call on me first. That's all, Ramone.
All right, how about you, Oscar? Expectations, and I think I got to you, right, Oscar? All right. Hey, am I missing anyone? Was it Natalie? Oh, yeah. I think that's pretty much it on the questioning. Like, I know I said a power hour, but it was unexpected. There's more people than I thought, but this is great. But overall, like, I think this is just a great time, just to let all of you know that you are not alone. You're not, everybody's story is different, but it still stems from the same place. And I feel like, while every day we might have statuses about the shenanigans going on, I know someone said that everything that's going on with coronavirus and how people are acting is affecting their anxiety. It makes you nervous how stupid people are, how ignorant people are, especially for someone like me or other people where I can't even walk out on the street without somebody feeling like they got to fuck with me. That creates an anxiety alone. Like, I ain't lie, I don't want to leave the house. I don't want to drive in Houston, because every day I'm sitting there like, somebody gonna fuck me up on this road, because, like, we don't want to live life that way. But I feel like it's just important, and I wanted to keep it light without people telling what all the things they've been through to where they are now. I just wanted to kind of just exchange and really get an idea that you're not alone, number one, and number two, the different things that you can do to help you. Sometimes people feel like, well, I'm dealing with these things, I'm gonna stay on social media because social media gonna make it better. Somebody saying, no, turn that shit off. You're like, oh shit, I didn't think of that. Like, something small like that can really help. I still plan on sticking around because I kind of chop it up with somebody about some Jordan stuff, but realistically, if y'all want to leave, you go ahead and leave, get to stepping. No, but so once again,
hey, Mo.
Yeah.
Mo. So a few things. I don't know if my connection is gonna be good. I got the Nelly Wi-Fi. right
I feel
now. But I need you to lick your lips because they dry like you've been kissing donuts. It's been bothering me like the whole video, fam.
Oh, my bad.
And
It's
there's
the
also
light,
like
man.
hair. I'm gonna send you some trimmers. It's a hair like creeping into your mouth. And I was about to grab my clippers and just like tap the screen right quick.
No, I haven't cut
I
my
know
hair on
you can
purpose.
taste it, and you just kept going like you couldn't taste it.
Yeah,
I
I'm
know
trying
you
to fix
can.
it. Hey, my whiskers, dog. My whiskers out here tripping. Now I wanted to cut it, but I said
Yeah.
I'm gonna go how long without it. Like I'm telling you.
Nah,
I
man,
got.
you're like Rasputin right now.
But yeah, I got the biker mustache. You know, we go over the lips and ask your wife to give him a kiss.
You like Thug #2 from Streets of Rage.
But yeah. So before I was rudely ribbed on, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, once again, everybody came through. I'm glad everybody kind of. I wish it can go forever, but also just make sure you follow each other and check everyone out, man. People have really great things to say. You are not alone. You're never going to be alone. There's always someone that's willing to help you and reach out. And you know, even without telling your life story, like yo, I went through this in 2010. Just people always like it doesn't matter what you went through when it comes to like it. Not as matter, but everybody's story is different. But this is something that can help. And every little thing that you can utilize can really do some great things for you. So once again, y'all have a great day. Y'all be safe out in the streets. Yeah, and get money.
Thank you, Ramone, for putting this together. And I feel like
So,
at least for me, I feel like this was like a type of therapy and everything. And I brought Ramone, you've never met my baby, which is a shame. But here's Lily.
Hi, what up?
Wow.
She's already 4 months, dude, and you haven't met her. Look how big she is.
Yeah, no, I ain't gonna lie. By the time this COVID and she gonna be 18 and graduate. I'm like, oh man, I remember when she was born when this all first started. We still in the house when she graduated.
We are. She has not met people, which is good. I mean, right now we're not trying to meet anybody. But
Look, I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm telling you right now, people trash. She don't need to beat them. I'm trash. She don't need to beat me.
It's all good. We miss you. Philip misses you. We miss everybody over there.
I will say,
Thank you, everybody, for everybody I met.
All right, y'all, man. Y'all take care. If y'all want to stick on, because I want to rant to somebody about this Jordan ball.
Bye, everybody.
All right, y'all. Y'all take care.
Bye. It was nice meeting everyone.
I got 1% left.
All right. Hey, yo, Billy.
All right, deuces.
What's up, King?
All right. So since you about to get off, right? Because I just want to ask you what you think about the Jordan doc real quick.
Man, I loved it, man. I thought it was amazing. But the thing is, you're a true sports guy. I'm a true sports guy. We didn't learn anything, you know?
I actually did.
You did?
I did, yes.
Okay, what'd you learn?
Okay, so the thing about it was before I left Milwaukee, I was doing sports broadcasting. And I am a huge advocate of the process. What goes in your mind? What is your mentality? And everybody most people, they still can't comprehend what's on the floor or on the field. But I like what people don't realize, and I think people have misinterpreted, was Jordan in general seems like a good dude. He said, look, I have to, even with the Steve Kerr situation, he's like, look, when you've been through and all the pressures that he has to deal with when it comes to him winning and people go up against, I'm hard on you in practice because the Knicks ain't gonna let you slide like this. You know what I'm saying? The Pistons is not gonna let you slide like this.
Yeah.
So that's why those players, when they went out and went against those dudes, they went against the Pistons and the Knicks and the Jazz, and Sonics, all tough, strong defensive teams. It was easy to them. Why? Because they had Jordan on their ass. Now, I'm not saying you be disrespectful because I'm not really I gotta cuss you out to get your point across person. But he was saying like, look, if I understand this is not for everyone, but if I put this on my back because I want everyone to enjoy the fruits of being successful, being a champion. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like people have found ways to conveniently just act like it wasn't a reason for that. I've always said not everybody's gonna be LeBron James, but I bet you LeBron James sometimes he wish he wasn't LeBron James. Only because if you see throughout LeBron James' career, he's a nice guy. Look at LeBron James is so good. We let him get away with the fact that he let Tristan Thompson get an $80 million contract, which it really wasn't worth it, right? But I think that even what we based our opinions about Jordan based off a narrative of what we thought we heard over the last 20 to 30 years. If Jordan came out and said, look, people were saying a year before he retired in 93, he said, I'm mentally and emotionally tired. I kind of want to retire. And then your dad gets murdered. And it's not even the fact that your dad gets murdered. It's the fact people was like, yeah, your dad got murdered. It could be your fault. What kind of shit? That's the irresponsibility. Like, somebody said this. Somebody said that if the media, let's say if you have a reporter, said Jordan dad was murdered, let's do some investigation and find out what could be the cause of this. But it wasn't that. People was just throwing it out there like it could be tossed, it could be tied in him in his gambling, even though early in the episode you see Jordan paid his dues. Jordan, when he owed that dude all that money who got caught up in court, it was a check, all his money. So you can see Jordan wasn't a dude that, like, it wasn't a Charles Barkley situation. You know, Jordan just, and the thing, it just, to me, if you already didn't like the dude, you was going to find reasons like, oh, see, I didn't like this. And I'm thinking to myself, like he said, you probably feel some way because you never won before. You don't, Jordan, it reminded me of when I was watching the Dave Chappelle thing, when Dave Chappelle's mom was like, you have to be the lamb so you can be the sheep. You have to be the lion so you can be the lamb you really are, some shit. Yeah. Right? You could tell by Jordan. He grew up in the country. You know, he listened to R&B before games. He wasn't like, Jordan's only a few years younger than Magic. So even when Jordan he was the top in the hip hop era, people thought, oh, he's one of us. Jordan grew up in Carolina in the 60s and 70s, fam. Like, he was listening to R&B and disco and all these other things when he hit the league in '84. And I just feel like this, to me, is a reminder that, like, all these things that you wanted to push your insecurities on him of being on top of the world and all the pressures of, he's like this first superstar athlete from, it's all these things happen in one. He's able to give a perspective, even with the flu game.
You're not gonna like my perspective. All right, you're not gonna like my point of view on this, because this is my thing. I got to be careful with what I say, because I see your recordings and you see what's on my chest. So I got to be careful.
Yeah.
But Michael,
you can say whatever you want.
Michael Jordan, I will say he is the greatest basketball player. He's the greatest winner of all time. Now, he's the greatest winner of all time. Now, when you talk about the actual basketball player, to say you're the best basketball player to ever play basketball, that's a huge statement, right? And it's hard to say, like, Michael Johnson was the fastest runner of all time, but we evolved. And now Usain Bolt is the fastest runner. And in 10 years, I guarantee you, because the way that we evolve, Usain Bolt will not be the fastest runner of all time. People evolve. And for somebody generations ago to still be considered the best, even though the game has evolved, shows to me that there's something more, right? So for my theory, I got this running theory with Michael Jordan. I love him. I think he's great. I got this running theory. I think Michael Jordan is so, first of all, it was 90, so it was peak sports area. I think we associate Michael Jordan with winning and manhood so much that when we threaten that position, we're threatening what we grew up on as being an alpha male, as being a winner, as being a pusher. We threaten that ideology, and people push back to that, right? He was a great basketball player, but if he played in today's NBA, I'm just going to be honest. The game has changed so much. And I'm not saying he's not a great winner, so I'm not taking away from that. But I think we have an emotional reaction where people say Michael Jordan would not produce in today's NBA the way he produced in the. There's an emotional reaction because we've attached him to every ideology of winning we've ever had. Like, that's just that's just what it is for Michael, right? He's an icon. He's bigger than a sport. Michael Jordan is literally an emotion. When you're a kid, when you were a child and you were playing basketball, you were thinking you were Jordan. And some kid is going to think that they were Kobe at one point in time. And that ideology is but for us, we guard Michael Jordan with everything that we have because he is so much bigger than sport. But to say like he's the one, you even just defended him being a jerk. Like he punched Steve Kerr, right? I get it. We're pushing for greatness. I get
Kerr
it.
did say, like, don't get me wrong.
Kerr said it made the relationship better. But come on,
y'all,
man.
this is
That's
where y'all
not
skip.
great leadership.
Kerr did say in practice, sometimes I get so mad and riled up. Jordan said, and Kerr was like, look, Kerr hit me in my chest. And then I hit him back.
Listen.
You know what I'm saying?
He ain't punched Bill Cartwright though.
I don't know. But see, you know what's interesting though, even with like I know people are directly no, hell no, not Oakley. Oakley wouldn't touch Oakley. That's
what I'm saying. He knew who to mess with.
Yeah.
But afterwards he did say, look, I was like, yo, why am I to me the biggest problem is it's not like his mistakes cataclysmic like the people that we know that's in jail right now. Jordan's like, look, why did I punch the smallest dude on the team? I'm glad he pushed back and he was just stand up to me. That's what he said. I called him, I told him, apologize, things like that. People looking at him like, oh, he did it. You ever think everybody do, in his case, it's not like he did some, I just feel, even with Scottie Pippen, and it was like, did Scottie Pippen have a bad look in the documentary? The reason why I was sitting there tripping, like, yo, what did it have to do with the story of Jordan doc? I was thinking to myself, okay, this happened in 1990 in Game 7. This happened when Jordan was on the team with the Tony Kukoc situation. This what happened back in 98 going into the season when it comes to foot surgery. It wasn't the fact that it wasn't the fact this documentary by Jason Hiller was like, this just happened and Scottie had nothing to say about it. Scottie even said it himself, 98, I didn't want to mess up my summer with the contract. I came from a poor background. I wanted to make sure I have stability after my injuries. Back with the whole situation with the Tony Kukoc situation, I was upset. I thought this was going to happen. He made the game-winning shot in the locker room. We shed a tear. Would I do it again? Yeah, I'll probably do it again. That was all Scottie said that. It wasn't that was just fabricated and made up. That was something that Scottie admitted to it. So everything about this to me, number one, I will say, all that shit that people talk about, how today's players are sensitive, look at, if you talk to Rakim and LL Cool J and somebody talk about their rap ability back in the 90s, they would react the same way artists would today if they had social media. It's no different. It's literally just humans evolve.
Survive.
We have the same tendencies.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just they have the same tendencies of how to respond. Because if that was the case, a lot of them rap beefs, fam. We had Tupac and Biggie. Two people died over people in their feelings. You know what I mean? Like, so it's not like every people involved naturally, but the same tendencies are going to happen to how people react and how they feel about shit. I enjoy it because, watching Jordan and how when he first came to the league, you could tell he was a Southern kid. He had his mom and dad, and people was like he was snitching on the situation where everybody in the grandma knew in the 80s, everybody was on that booger sugar and everything else back in the NBA in the 80s and early 90s, right? And Jordan is able, he was a private dude. He's always, and it's like now with all this shit coming out, I was like, I see why celebrities are private because y'all can't comprehend shit. Y'all keep begging for us to open up and be real like Kevin Durant. I like Kevin Durant because one thing he will always do is he's always just letting you know what's on his mind and how he feel. And media love, because if Kevin Durant was fake or he wasn't authentic of how he felt, he would be shitted on for not being authentic.
100%.
But then when he's saying, look, I feel like this, I'm on social media, you can tell he just want to play basketball and shoot the shit with other people. I rock with that. Like, I don't mind that. And I just feel like.
But let me tell you this, Ramon. First of all, you're in a can't-win world. Like when you're an athlete. Yeah. But if Michael Jordan, can you imagine if Michael Jordan took the same attitude he had in the 90s, this win at all costs attitude, which I love, right? It's a part of my identity as a leader today. If he had that same attitude and he was punching people in the chest, he was going hard at the refs, whatever he was doing, the social media would rip him apart. His name would be Draymond Green. He would not be who he is as a leader today. It wouldn't work. It doesn't work. Because we've evolved as a society. We've evolved, and what we consider acceptable now, we didn't consider acceptable in the 90s.
I don't think he would have been doing it if he happened to be in this time frame. I would hope that he has the right smarts to not. It was during that time because, like, just to point out to what Mo said, I haven't seen the documentary yet. I actually want to see it even more now that I'm listening to you motherfuckers. So so basically, what Mo said earlier, it's like when you're part of something, you know, like myself as an actor. When I was acting, I'm not acting no more. I'm a spiritual coach, so I got to be on my you know, hey. But when I'm an actor, I'm like, fuck you. Like anytime I heard the word actor, something happened in me to where I'm like, if you're gonna say that you deserve to call yourself an actor, like I just look at it as a gladiator. Like Mike, he was in basketball. He's going, no, I'm just like what Mo said. It's not for everybody, and that's how I am with acting. I'm not talking like this for the ones who's like thinking they want to be an actor. I'm talking like this for the ones who's like, I'm a fucking actor, and I want, you know, it's a different, it's a. You know, I get amped, as you can see. I get amped when I'm talking about acting. So if I'm going around somebody else in that field, I might talk a little, you know, what I do on the court when I'm playing basketball sometimes, which is friendly competition. I'll be like, man, you suck, Nick. But then when you're on my team, guess what, man? Hey, you know you're the best one out here, except for you're not on my team. But let's go. So, you know, it has that mentality, like, you know. But I think anybody, I don't know, you know, whatever you doing, I would hope that you like that with whatever you say you love. Like I want you to be like that, just so I want to learn from you now. like I can teach you anything about acting, come to me. But outside of that, you know, in spiritual, like consciousness, you know, those are my two things. Outside of that, you know, you know, whatever. Like
well, see, at the end of episode 7, really hit different. Like 7 and 8 was so different, dog, because it was like, all these years we assumed all this shit. 7, he was like, look, this is what I do. And he was getting emotional. He was like that's when you love what you do. This is when and I think what's different now is people assume because you have all these athletic dudes, it's like, man, Jordan played today, he'd be Zach LaVine. And it's like, no, because if you kind of think about it, if all these athletic dudes was as skillful as they are, guess what they all be? Really fucking good instead of bench players. And it's just one of those things. Like you have to look at the circumstances at the time, and even at that, people comparing. Like I'm not saying that people if today wouldn't thrive back then, but I will say that you have to take terms of Bird and Magic was wearing Converse. You know what I mean? Like the technology was different. I was listening to something where they said Larry Bird didn't practice shooting threes at all.
Yeah.
Because I was listening to an interview with Ray Allen. He said, in my career, if I was, you know, I was out here getting to layups and I was shooting mid-range shots, but if I shot like 2 threes in a row, I felt like I was settling. That was the mentality that was different. So people keep shitting on the people of the past and how, oh, if they played today, it'd be different. No, you have to look at you took the exact same person, exact same mentality in the approach, and then the information, and then you put them in today's times. If you took the medicine we have, hey Jordan, just to let you know, we're gonna work our triangle system with it. We're gonna be shooting a lot of threes. Then Tony Kukoc would be a max player. Like Bill Winnington wouldn't be in the league, and Jordan would still be good, even with the changes of how you play defense. I just think that it's always been insulting towards me because people can't comprehend these things like I feel like I can. Like most people, I think, watch basketball in 2003. I think that's when most people started watching it back in 2003 when when LeBron came to the league. All right, Oscar, you take care, man.
King, please.
And I think that's when people start. And so when you, because I've been basketball. My dad was locked up. I transitioned in this, but my dad was locked up. And I remember being in the conversion van, driving to see my dad, and I was like, 5, 6 years old. And I remember when the Bulls won the finals when John Paxson made that shot because my grandfather had it playing in the fucking van. You know what I mean? That's the type of shit. That's what like even now after watching that, I was like, I don't have many regrets, but I kind of wish I could continue with sports broadcasting. I kind of wish I just did the ESPN radio thing I was trying to go to before I moved to Houston. I kind of wish I just followed with the basketball recruiting and coaching. Because that's my shit. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So but also right now, that's why this whole content thing means so much because I love storytelling. I love getting people together to express things. Like listen to Jason here, even with the whole the flu story. He was on Jalen Jacoby right afterwards, and they asked him, "Look, we don't believe this whole flu game." He said straight up, "No, this is exactly what was kind of told. Some stuff he had taken out." He said, "Look, they was at the hotel because they told a story about these guys walk up to the door, blah blah. They was at the hotel. Jordan was mad at his security and trainers because they went to dinner without him.
Yeah, so nobody can eat pizza.
So yeah, they went to dinner without him, but it was late. Jordan was super hungry. He said, "Look, y'all better order me something because I'm hungry as hell." They was in the outskirts where Utah is, so they got a pizza. When the trainer opened the door and said the dudes at the pizza, it was dudes at the door to get the pizza. When they got the pizza, Jordan spit on the pizza like nobody else getting pizza. I'm just eating. And then that's why it was a story about he was the only one who ate the pizza. He did that shit that sometimes people are like, "Oh no, this is my shit." You know what I mean? Like we used to do in high school. Well, I didn't do that because I ain't trash like that. But and that's the story behind it. Like I just think that we've been living off this myth of, or in the legend of Jordan, of this mythical creature, that everything that we thought or whispers we heard, when you find out the real, people still didn't want to believe that. And it's like, I understand why he's private. People, why he include his kids, why he include his wife. Fam, we were just trying to find out Jordan's career and what he'd been through between 83 and 2000 and 1998. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel like it was amazing. Like I don't even cry at shit. Fam, I was shedding a tear. Even Steve Kerr, fam, Steve Kerr's dad. You know, like that I think that says a lot about Steve Kerr and how Steve Kerr is very open. He's very open-minded. He's very political savvy in certain subjects. Like you can tell that shit is taught. To be Steve Kerr, that shit you can tell by his mom and dad and the way they were compared to other people that we hope wouldn't think that way, but they grew up in a certain neighborhood and a certain lifestyle to be how they are. Like that, I don't know. I know I'm just talking, but yeah, that was great.
Well, you said you wanted to rant.
Yeah.
But
well, y'all, I got a book club every Tuesday, just in case y'all feel like jumping on. It's every Tuesday, but I missed yesterday because I was in LA, so I'm gonna do it right after this. I gotta do it in an hour. But
read, nigga, what's reading? Dog?
You did.
All right, but I appreciate y'all, man. Thank you for letting me get that off. And y'all be safe, take care, man. And I have other ideas and things like that. I'm trying to figure out, maybe take a week off, but I really think I appreciate y'all.
Yeah, man.
Hey Mo, I'll chop it up with you if you want me to.
All right, man. Just give me a quick